Hey there everybody, it's Carmen and I'm back just in time for our next page, which is a stitch in time. Now please note, this is a picture, yes, of my feet in my most favorite socks. I was hanging out with a bunch of friends, we were watching television, and they were so shocked that Carmen, who's usually so well put together with the accessories and the hair and the matching hat with the socks, was actually wearing a pair of holey socks. And thus I created the page, A Stitch in Time, and through the journaling on the page, which I put right down here, you're gonna see exactly what I love about my socks and why they will always remain holy. We're gonna put it all together next. I'm going to be using a stamp, and I've used a bunch of different stamps. I've actually put together different sets of stamps because I really wanted the page to have different feel. I didn't want it to just be static, same kind of font for the stamps. As well as this page kind of has a whimsical kind of feel to it, so I wanted all the letters to be just slightly different shapes and sizes. And I'm going to be using an embossing ink pad here, as well as the stamp. It's all about the stamps and all the fun things that you could do with the stamps. You could do some of the letters with just regular ink, some of the letters with the embossing powder, some of the letters could be handwritten, so you can have a lot of fun and use the stamps interchangeably throughout your design. So really quickly, we're going to use the stamp here, and I chose this one as the A because it's the first letter in the title block that I'm going to be using, and I wanted it to be a really strong statement. So I'm going to simply put my stamp onto the ink pad here, and then I'm just going to quickly and easily put this onto here. And if you'll note the way that I'm centering it on the page, I'm leaving a little border at the bottom and to the other side because I'm going to actually punch this out with either a circle or a square. So I want to leave enough room around the letter to actually accommodate the punch out when I'm going to go to use it. So I'm going to put that down nice and evenly. We've got a clean little mark there. And I got this great embossing powder. Now, some embossing powders are translucent and some of them are opaque. Some of them are semi-translucent. So you kind of want to make sure that you're paying attention to the labeling to make sure that you get the one you want. And I wanted this one to be opaque because I wanted the letters to be really strong. I'm just going to put it on there, pour it right into the bowl. And then I'm going to slide this little piece of paper under here. And then what we're going to do is you just want to take your little canister, just want to crease it a little bit, and just get rid of the embossing powder right into there, and just tap it a few times and clean it up, and there we have it just with the embossing powder. And you just want to make sure that if there's any loose little pieces, you want to take that off, because when we use our heating tool, the little piggy heating tool, and that's actually by Heritage Handcraft, and I love this. But the really cool thing about this is, if you guys have used any heating tools, which could be paint heating tools or any of the other heating tools that are out there on the market, this little tip in here gets really, really hot, of which I'm sure that many of you already know. If you put it on your lap, if you put it on your hand, or whatever, you can get burned. The really great thing about the little pig is that it actually has a plastic cover on it, so you don't get burned. So all you want to do is you want to turn on the heating tool and then keep a little distance away. You'll be able to know if you're too close or too far, and it'll actually start to heat and melt the embossing powder, and it puts it into place and actually raises your stamp so that you have an image that's raised and also opaque and or solid. Okay, we're going to just do that. Makes a little bit of noise, so you just want to make sure that you keep it there, and you don't want to get too close, and you also don't want to get too far. Just want to let it work its way in, and all of a sudden, like magic, it starts to work. Did you see how it did that in just a quick instant? And it's all done just like that. See how it kind of gives you a raised feel to it, a little bit shiny. And now what I'm going to do is I've got a square hole punch of 1 1/8 inch right here. So a little trick is you want to take your letter, and I'm going to flip this towards me here, but then you want to put your paper in, and you actually want to be able to see it through the little window on the bottom, and you just press it, and boom, there we go. We have our square, which is the first letter for our title blocks. So now I went ahead and put them all together, but I want to show you a little bit about what I did. We have a stitch in time. So basically what I did is I punched out a bunch more squares and circles, and then I just started to have fun and glued all the individual pieces together to create my title blocks. So now what I did is that I've got the A glued stitch in time, and then I wanted to create a little title block card or matting, and I wanted to use the green definitely, and I've used another slightly different piece of paper incorporating all the colors, but look at how you just get a huge pop when you put it on just like that, okay? And I did the same thing here with a stitch, and I skewed it a little bit because I'm going to put my picture into here and into there. So now we've got our embossing, we've got our title blocks. I'm going to put these aside over here really quickly because there's just one other thing that I wanted to show you, one other really important element, which is the ThermoWeb Memorabilia pocket, which I incorporated into my journaling. I wanted to use a little envelope, so this is the one that came in the package just like that. It still has the adhesive on it, so you just pull back the adhesive like that. And it comes, this particular package brings 8 of different sizes and shapes. You can do all sorts of wonderful things. There's cute little ones. There's these size, and also I chose to use the bigger size just because it kind of balances out a little bit better with my picture. So I'm going to set those aside, but they're actually wonderful little tools for us. I knew that I have a clear packet and I wanted to give it a little bit of color and tie it into the page as well. But I also wanted to write on it and journal on it. So I kind of did an inversion where I did the back matting to be the color with the circular dots and then the top one with the lime color. And then the great thing about it is that it slides right into there, just like that. And then you can actually see the journaling through it that I wrote through it. And then the last little thing that I did is I took a die-cut sock. And I put it actually on the outside of the page, and I did that on purpose because I want the person who's looking at the page to not be able to see all of the writing in my journaling and then to actually have to pull the piece of paper out to see the journaling. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put the page together, and now we just get to have fun. I started here with some paper. And it has great vertical lines on it. If you'll notice, the paper has some stitching in it to kind of keep going with our theme. Then the first thing I wanted to do is I'm going to put in my first title block, which is a stitch. And I kind of angled it a little bit because I want the whole page to have that whimsical feel. And then we're going to do the other one here really quickly, just adding that on there. And like I said, you can always play with it. And here's my picture. There we go. And see how it just kind of all lines up nicely. And I purposely played with the words so that I could center them around the picture. And I really wanted to create a box within a box effect. If you'll notice, I changed up the matting for the photo just a little bit. And I cut the boxes so that you actually see a box within a box, another box within a box, and then the photo, which I just think that adds more of the whimsical feel to it, going away from the more classic feel. And then, again, these wonderful memorabilia pockets, and as I mentioned earlier, all you have to do is the adhesive is on the back, you pull it off, and because I'm still playing with where my layout is, which is why you don't want to glue it until you're absolutely done, just going to lay that into there, take off my little adhesive from my envelope, put that down there so it's sealed. And I found these great little buttons, and so I had fun with the buttons just by adding little buttons here and there. The color palette of the buttons were great for the theme. They already have on the back a little adhesive on it, which makes life a lot easier, and they came pre-threaded with this little cross stitch here. And you just kind of can have fun, and I put the buttons on in all sorts of different places. So there you have it. Now let's take a real look, a close look at the finished product of this page. Not only do you know why I love the socks, but I actually really love the way the page turned out. The popping, the colors, which were all inspiration from the socks, the buttons, the embossing, and of course, the little journaling down here in the corner makes this page not only a stitch in time, but it's just in time. Thanks a lot. We'll see you guys again. Bye-bye.
For step-by-step instructions on how to create this week's project, download the design guide featuring special make-it-your-own bonus tips.